What's good, you stinky, unwashed heathens? It is I, J Bone Capone, the Bishop of Bull Moose. I'm here to bless you with some more of my ramblings at the end of a long day. I swear this is only my first of these right here. Going to be lucid for this whole video, I hope, but it might be a long one. So I don't know. I might be gibbering by the end of it. We'll have to see. Recently, I watched a video from my close personal friend, Serial at Midnight, in which he lamented changes in theater going and movie culture that he has recently observed. Mr. at Midnight's video resonated with me because while I think his observations are correct, they're both born out of my experience as well as available data. I think he's got the wrong culprit in his video. I think he's blaming the wrong party, the party that's not necessarily responsible. His observations seem to be distinct yet related phenomena, which I'll try to parse and describe a little bit, although they're related, so they're going to intersect and intertwine. First, in his recent video, linked below in the description, he speaks of the decline of attendance that the US box office is currently experiencing. I will discuss that phenomenon as I have anecdotally observed it as well, and I will provide supporting data where available, as well as provide my thoughts while drinking this beer and saying bad words. Secondly, in both his recent video that's linked below, as well as some other previous videos over the last several months on his channel, Serial at Midnight has also discussed emerging changes, possibly generational, in film culture at large. I believe that shifting culture and emerging technologies are impacting film culture for sure. And I think those changes are involved in the mechanics that are impacting the declining US box office. I will continue to drink and swear as I discuss how film culture intersects with all of the box office pants shitting that's been happening. Now, if I were to summarize Mr. at Midnight's recent observations in just a few words, I would do so thusly. Movie theaters are kind of fucked. That's my thesis statement for the majority of this video, at least. This is especially true if you compare the total domestic box office sales of the past 5 years, 5 full years, I'm not going to include any 2025 data, to the 5 year period immediately preceding the last 5 years, right? So I'm going to take the last 10 years of complete years and whack them up. The last five up till end of 2024, and then the 5 years before that. Now, here is an image of the past 10 full years worth of US domestic box office revenue, year by year across that x axis there. So here's what I'm talking about. From 2015 to 2019, the sum of the US domestic gross box office sales was 56.8 billion. That's with a B, motherfucker. $1 billion. From 2020 to 2024, the sum of the US domestic gross box office sales was down to 31.4 billion. That's still billion with a B. I mean, that's a reduction of nearly 45%. I know it still sounds like a lot. Like 31.4 billion is still a shitload of money. Jason, what are you talking about? Yeah, I smoked crack before this video. But what I'm saying is that there's no business on the planet Earth that doesn't look at a 45% reduction like, fuck, what happened? 45% is a big fucking haircut. Now, I obtained this data that I'm showing you from boxofficemojo.com without the use of AI because I'm an actual fucking scholar. I built the chart myself. I didn't copy and paste that. But the data that runs the chart came from boxofficemojo.com. I didn't use AI. You know why? I went to fucking college for entirely too long and I got useless degrees that I'm trying to squeeze a penny out of. I'm no punk bitch. Now, if we look at this line chart, you can see that from 2014 to 2019, the total annual box office revenue in the United States was trending slightly up over those years before it absolutely voided its bowels in 2020 for no particular reason that anybody, including my 5-year-old, could fucking tell you why that went right off a fucking cliff. So the data is pretty clear that the anecdotal observations made by many of us are accurate. Compared to previous decades, the movie theaters are kind of empty, bruh. Stepping away from data and more into kind of the emotional response to these things, I do agree with Mr. at Midnight's general sentiment. It sucks that the movie theater is not the place people want to spend a Friday or Saturday evening. It sucks that kids today aren't growing up the same way I did. It sucks that I'm going to have to work extra hard to try and convince my children to like the same shit I do so that we can have things in common to enjoy and make memories so they will think fondly of me when I've passed away and then force those same movies on their kids and, with any luck, perpetuate the cycle into future generations. It sucks that I myself do not go to see movies in the theater as often as I profess that I would like to. I'm kind of the guy that Cyril at Midnight was pointing a finger at in his recent video linked below. I'm the guy who laments the death of the movie theater while at the same time not patronizing the movie theater at least nearly as much as I should. I go whenever I can, but when I can is not nearly often enough. It sucks watching movies at home alone with no pants on while eating cold Chinese food because I'm too goddamn lazy to microwave it. And popcorn at home sucks dick. And don't even get me started on the sex. Theaters are so much more fun to ejaculate in. I have so many great memories of seeing movies in theaters. Just so much cool shit I've done. I saw Billy Madison on opening night and I shit my pants a little bit laughing or maybe farting. I don't know. I was 13. I saw The Matrix on opening night, and I have never been hard for an entire movie before that. I had never maintained an erection from start to finish like The Matrix. I saw several M. Night Shyamalan movies in the theaters, and I mean, that's how I learned you got to take the bad with the good in life, right? They may not have been great movies, they suck, but I learned a valuable life lesson. And if you like M. Night Shyamalan, let me know down below. I mean, he sucks. His movies suck, and they all suck. The Sixth Sense is tolerable. I can watch that. The rest of them, unbreakable, more like unbearable. Fuck that guy and his fucking movies. And you got trash taste if they're your favorite. Back to the regularly scheduled program. My late best friend Jimmy and I, RIP, but my best friend Jimmy and I used to go to the movie theater at 10:30 a.m. We would buy a ticket for the first movie of the day, and then we would proceed to sneak into four more movies for a total of five films in one day was the most we managed to get in with the schedule, open and close and stuff like that. We got five movies in one day on like two or three occasions. I just realized I still got a sticker on my face that my daughter put there. That's a bit distracting. Sorry about that, guys. That's where I put my LSD. I mean, Jimmy and I spent entire days in the theater, illegally sneaking into over $50 worth of movies each, effectively stealing that money from the theater. I snuck in an entire order of General Tso chicken with egg rolls and fried rice into opening night of the first Gladiator when every seat was full. And the old man sitting next to me was not fucking amused. Couldn't you just get popcorn like a normal human being? Fuck no. I need my fucking crispy General Tso, dude. I snuck a six pack of bottled beer into Thor in a cooler. I snuck the whole cooler in. I don't know how I got that in. I think I propped the door open and reached out and grabbed it. I had a whole cooler with a six pack of bottled beers just because I wanted people to hear the bottle clink when I set it down. I snuck out of Space Cowboys with Clint Eastwood to go get a sub from Subway. And then I snuck back into Space Cowboys and ate my sub while watching the rest of that fucking movie. I got jerked off in more movies than I can remember. I don't want all those memories to be gone. I want my kids to have experiences like that. I want them to live the life that I did and enjoy the things I did. I want them to go watch landmark films and eat shitty subs and steal and get jerked off in public and then defecate behind a giant Jurassic Park arcade cabinet like I did. So, look, I think we all agree theaters are in rough shape as a business, and those of us who love the theatrical experience are bound to have an emotional response. We're attached to that experience. We have this emotional attachment. We're going to have an emotional response when we see that the movie theater is so empty. When you do go see a movie at the theaters and it's just fucking tumbleweeds going through the halls. The floors aren't even sticky anymore. And it makes me a little sad. Where I do disagree with Mr. at Midnight is in his assessment of the root cause of the theater business dangling limply while my wife points and laughs. I don't think telling people that they have changed explains the widespread nature of the box office issue. I mean, what is the mechanism that caused such a widespread shift over the entire country and at the level of culture, pretty much? We didn't all wake up one day and decide in near perfect synchronicity that we all want to ruin a beloved and long-standing American industry responsible in part for the happiness that we felt as young people. My late grandpa would often brag that he had not gone to see a film since he saw The Sting in 1973. That was the last movie he ever saw in the theaters, and he was kind of proud of that. He would brag a little bit that he hadn't seen a film in theaters since The Sting in 1973. And he was always a little bit vague on why he stopped, because I would ask him, say, why not go see movies anymore? It's a fun thing to do, and you're fucking retired. He couldn't cite a specific incident or anything, something that happened in film or in culture that like turned him off of the movies. It really did just seem like he lost interest. It seemed like they didn't make movies for him anymore. I mean, the chief demographic responsible for box office ticket sales is the 18 to 34 demographic. And 1973, my grandpa was probably 38. I think he was 38 when The Sting came out, roughly. I mean, he was pushing 40, but maybe not quite 40 yet when The Sting came out. So he had aged out of that demographic. So it's altogether possible that he simply aged out. He didn't feel like movies were necessarily aimed at him anymore, and he didn't feel compelled to go see any of them. That's my conclusion, which is a little crazy to me because from my perspective, so many phenomenal films were released after 1973. I mean, you could go on for hours, but like just a few off the top of my head: Goodfellas, Big Trouble in Little China, amazing. The Highlander, Skyfall, that's a more recent one that was phenomenal in the theaters. The Dark Knight, I went to see that in IMAX 3 times because I lived right near an IMAX. I lived literally like a mile from an IMAX theater. It was a brand new Mall of Georgia in Buford, Georgia. I lived right near that bitch, and I went to see The Dark Knight 3 fucking times. And I've bought that movie twice now on physical media. So, I mean, I've spent some money on Dark Knight. The 40-Year-Old Virgin and other like really kind of iconic comedies that have come out over the years since he quit. I mean, how many iconic Ghostbusters? I mean, how many iconic movies were released in the 1980s that my grandpa skipped that whole fucking decade? All of these movies came out after 1973 and before my grandpa passed. I made sure that I didn't list any films that came out after my grandpa passed away because obviously he couldn't see those. So he could have gone to see any of these movies that I mentioned and many, many more, but he didn't. And he didn't regret it either. I mean, he was oblivious to like any sense of loss from giving up films in the last 50 years of his life. Because if he was about 40 when he quit watching movies, he was about 90 when he passed away. Now, even though he gave up on the movie theater almost 50 years prior to the ongoing total rectal prolapse that they're currently enjoying or not enjoying, I do find myself reflecting on my grandfather's case whenever I consider the current state of the box office. You can tell people that they changed and that it's their responsibility to patronize the movie theaters, but that's not really going to get you what you want, right? You can tell people that their preferences are incorrect until you're blue in the face, but they're not going to respond by pulling out their wallet and buying a movie ticket. Oh, yeah, you're right. Let me go get a ticket now. They'll just say, nope, fuck you. Mr. at Midnight is correct insofar as the customer supports the business. You buy tickets, the theater keeps the lights on. The customer is the source of revenue. Customers have to buy tickets to keep theaters open. Customers aren't buying tickets, so theaters will not stay open. I could explain it to my 3-year-old. However, when the customer ain't buying, it's the business's responsibility to address that. The business has to woo the customer, not the other way around. We don't owe them shit. I don't owe nobody money. And that's a good thing. You shouldn't owe anybody any money either. Pay off all your debts and stay out of debt. That's the only financial advice I'm going to give. Buy Bitcoin, motherfuckers, but don't owe anybody nothing. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't owe any money. I got a little student loan. Okay, I got a little student loan debt I haven't paid off yet, but come on. Fucking Joe Biden was supposed to write that shit off. I'm not supposed to owe that anymore. 4 years later, I still owe these cocksuckers still sending me fucking emails on Nelnet saying I fucking got to go in there and pay them. What the fuck, motherfucker? Anyway, the business got to woo the customer. It's like if you want to nail your prom date afterward, you got to put in the work. It's prom night, dog. You got to romance her. You got to make it a lovely evening. You got to be charismatic and attentive. Open the door for her. Get her a beverage. Make sure she enjoyed her dinner. Pay attention to her, prioritize her. Then you get to hit it in the hotel room. You know what I'm saying, dog? That's how I did it. That's how my dad did it. I got 2 kids to prove it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, if people say that movies are too expensive and that streaming is cheaper per hour of watching, and not only that, but more convenient, that's their perception. Good luck changing it. If people say that movies suck, they're too full of woke bullshit. Actors are a bunch of douchebags. Twitter proved that. Hollywood is evil. These people are just rapists and shit. Harvey Weinstein motherfuckers. That is their perception. Good luck changing that. You tell them they're wrong, they're entrenched in their belief. The Thomas theorem is a sociological principle that states that situations or conditions are made real by their consequences. Let that sink in, and or Google the Thomas theorem. Basically, the Thomas theorem says fake shit is real. Like it doesn't have to exist in order to kind of be real because it causes effects. And if something can cause effects, it must be real enough, even as a concept, to cause the effect. Maybe there are good movies out there, but if the audience is not aware of those films, then the consequences for theaters will be as if no good movies are out there. That's how the Thomas theorem works in this particular instance. There's a David Cronenberg movie coming out this week, and I haven't seen a single advertisement for it. I didn't know it existed until today, as I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes to write this stupid video. You could say that I should have seen an advertisement for it. I mean, I watch YouTube, I spend time online, I watch a little bit of television. I'm exposed to advertisement. Maybe you've known about the Cronenberg film for months. Maybe you're like, yeah, dumbass, why are you just finding out about it today? It's still a failure of marketing for that film. It's marketing's job to reach their target audience. It's not my failure for being unaware because ultimately they're the ones losing money if I don't buy a ticket. And I'm a Cronenberg ticket buying motherfucker. I will buy a motherfucking Cronenberg ticket. So the fact that I didn't know about this shit is definitely a failing of marketing. How come I don't know about this shit? How come I can watch fucking YouTube videos about fucking all sort of adult shit? I mean, I watch a lot of kid YouTube videos too because I got a 3-year-old. I mean, I watch a little Miss Rachel too. I don't expect the David Cronenberg movie to be advertised in between segments of Miss Rachel, but I watch a lot of physical media and movie YouTube too. I see a lot of commercials for fucking GMC trucks I ain't never gonna fucking buy. YouTube ought to figure that shit out. Marketing ought to pay YouTube. It is a failure somewhere in the system that me, a guy who is fucking happy, I will do a backflip to buy a goddamn David Cronenberg ticket. The fact that I didn't know about this shit, that's fucking proof positive right there. Thomas theorem, motherfucker, look it up. And I've always hated the phrase perception is reality. I've always thought that was the dumbest shit a motherfucker could say. But in recent years, I've actually come to understand it a little bit better, especially in light of the Thomas theorem. If people think movies will be on a streaming service soon, then they obviously don't have a problem waiting. Whether they're right or not, their perception is reality. They see Indiana Jones and they think this dumb shit is going to be on fucking Disney Plus in 2.5 weeks. All I got to do is just watch some TikTok in the meantime, and then boom, at some point the pizza will be done baked and I get to go pop it out of the oven, right? My man's Chase from AVA Pop Culture, he said it. I mean, movies go from the theater to a streaming service faster than I can book a babysitter. How am I supposed to make it to the goddamn theater? Fucking thing is in some streaming service 5 minutes after it dropped. At the end of the day, I don't think the customer has really changed. I think fundamentally we are the same creatures that we have always been. We just have new options and more devices for those options now. In the 1950s, TV came to eat the movie theater's lunch. And nowadays, the smartphone is eating the TV's lunch and the movie theater's lunch. The smartphone eating everybody's lunch. The smartphone ate my ass. If anything, I would say that this entire topic is proof positive that the more shit changes, the more shit stays the same. People wanted cheap entertainment when the television became available, and that's why TVs sold like hotcakes in the 1950s. I have yet to hear one single Bluetuber bitch about TV the way they bitch about streaming. But TV very much was the streaming of the 20th century. Tons of people chose the television over the movie theater, including my beloved grandpa, whom I just mentioned. What do you think he was doing? Staring at the corner? That man was watching fucking UK basketball all day, every day, as long as it was on. He'd watch the reruns. Shit, he might have learned how to work a VCR just so he could tape it and watch the shit in the off season. That man watched some fucking college basketball. The price per hour of entertainment provided by televisions and the variety of programming on TV made the value proposition a no-brainer for everybody in the 50s and 60s that wasn't Amish. TV was absolutely streaming before streaming, and the box office had to respond to survive. I mean, you guys go look it up. I'll link some data below that I used as well to make these statements, but there was a problem with ticket sales in the wake of televisions being widely accepted in the decades of the 50s and the 60s. There was a big problem with tickets when compared to the mid 40s. You compare the mid 40s to the mid 60s, ticket sales in terms of numbers of tickets sold were cut in half. And I'll cite that below. So, just as the widespread adoption of the television saw changes in movie theater attendance, as I mentioned, it was inevitable that streaming was going to come fuck shit up too. In the 1950s and 60s, Hollywood acted to support the theatrical box office by innovating. They offered things in theaters that you couldn't get on TV, right? Wide aspect ratios. They were invented because of this, because the TV was 4:3. The TV was copying the film aspect ratio of the 30s and 40s, right? And then the TV comes out and they think, now we're going even wider than you can get, motherfucker. And, thank them for pan and scan, too, because that's what wound up happening. Eventually, the MPAA rating system emerged as a way to offer theater goers a variety of programming that would be like too mature or possibly risque for television broadcast. I mean, theaters used to show porn, for Christ's sake. People didn't have the internet, right? Hollywood absolutely acted to support the theater business. And I think in recent years, Hollywood's kind of getting like a do-over, right? It seems that nowadays they're taking more of a like, fuck it. If you can't beat them, join them stance by vertically integrating in a way that they haven't since the 1940s when the monopoly, that vertical integration with them owning theaters was broken up in the late 40s. Every studio now practically, it feels like everybody's got a fucking, like I've got a fucking streaming service. My fucking 5-year-old has a streaming service. Everybody's got a fucking streaming service. Anyway, every studio has this vertical monopoly on their own streaming service. Disney makes movies, but they also got a streaming service that they want you to subscribe to. Everybody else does the same. I detest the idea of a future where people go to the movies once a year or maybe less, instead consuming most of their content via streaming online. While I'm comparing and contrasting TV with streaming, at least with the TV, it was a communal hub at the level of the family. It may not have been a communal hub for like a town or a city, but at least everybody, the mom, the dad, the grandma, the grandpa, the kids, the dog, everybody fucking boom. We could watch the same TV. We could experience the same thing. We had this at least nuclear sense of a community, right? Everybody convened to watch the same sitcoms or the same like sports games or even news together as a family. Nothing wipes its ass on my soul like seeing my wife and 2 kids, the people I love most in this world, people I would die for, each siloed in their own algorithm tailored content, just doom scrolling all by themselves, alone, dead to the outside world, despite being physically maybe only inches apart, like on the same couch, but just miles apart cognitively. And I sensed it Serial at Midnight feels similarly about the rejection of theatrical entertainment. It fucking blows. And I kind of want to fight somebody over it, but who do I blame but myself? I don't know. The personalization of entertainment that is made possible by algorithm all but guarantees that families will spend their downtime each consuming their own shit. Everybody gets their own flavor of porn, right? Or whatever, Netflix kids, you're watching fucking Unicorn Academy, you're fucking over here watching Sonic, and I'm over here watching the fucking 300-pound linebacker looking dudes rail the 95-pound white girl. I mean, shit. I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. In fact, I will go so far as say it's a bad thing. I think that we don't blame the people. We blame the shiny objects that activate our fucking monkey brain. I even hate using words like consumption and content when I talk about film. This is art. It's not a fucking McDouble. You don't consume it. Content. YouTube is full of content. What it's not full of is art. There's a little bit there, sure, but it's not chock full of it. It's chock full of dipshits like me yelling at a camera because they think they're smart. And here we are at the topic of movie culture in general, right? We've arrived there via discussion of this modern technology, especially the algorithm. The internet is more to blame than the hardware, the smartphone itself. Because for all our Shakespeare and T.S. Eliot and Kurosawa, put a smartphone in our hands and our primitive monkey brain is activated, man. I can watch Netflix just as easily as I can watch the 95-pound white girl get spit roasted on Twitter. Like, how can Gladiator 2 possibly compare to that? Why would I want to fucking watch Gladiator 2? I know it's on, it's playing, but I'm watching somebody get pounded out on fucking OnlyFans right here, man. Paid $12 a month for this shit. So look, I share a lot of the concerns that Serial at Midnight expressed, but I think unlike Serial at Midnight, I think Skynet is winning. I think Cyberdyne's algorithm absolutely has our number. I think movie theaters are going to close up. I don't think they will all go away, but I think a lot of them are going to close up until we find that sustainable balance. Theaters, I think, will actually follow what physical media has largely done, where it's become more of a niche thing for like a specific type of fan. Like there's a specific type of dude, you're looking at him, who will spend money on owning the physical copy of the movie. I just think normies aren't really doing that. I think theaters are going to start to, the theaters that remain in the post-apocalyptic world, the theaters that remain are going to try to target the individuals like me, like Serial at Midnight, like other folks. Aviate Pop Culture, I mentioned, he'll go see movies in theaters. My man Brian from Last Movie Standing, Frank, if he ever gets out of his fuck room and washes his hands, he'll absolutely go see a movie. Anyway, they will sell fewer tickets annually, but there'll be fewer locations for us to choose from. But I mean, we'll still be able to go see movies inside of theaters. I don't think we'll be able to see all the new releases anymore. I mean, theaters will probably have to license films the way boutiques do. Like Arrow licenses this in the United States, Vinegar Syndrome licenses that, Criterion gets this other thing over here. And as with boutiques, theaters might not be able to get everything because a studio like Disney will still want to put their best shit on their streaming service so they can continue to sell that. So I don't think we'll be able to see everything, especially some of the newest shit. They're going to want to keep that to themselves, but theaters will probably be able to license older shit. I mean, we might be able to go see Roadhouse at the Vinegar Syndrome Theater. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But I think just like with physical media, the normies are going to continue to prefer streaming at home for the most part, seeing maybe one or two big event films per year in theaters. There might be one or two real big, think the big MCU shit, the big Jurassic Park shit, the big shit of Star Wars, maybe if they can stop sucking dick again. People will go see those in theaters once or twice a year. I think mostly people will stay home. I think it seems to be what people prefer. You're not going to get yelled at for having your smartphone on during a movie at home. There's nobody behind you on a second couch that's watching you fucking scroll. So people like that. People prefer to stay at home. People will pay $50 to have soggy, lukewarm McDonald's delivered instead of like going to eat at a restaurant. They'll pay to have this shit delivered They'll pay more to have it delivered despite the quality diminishing while it sits in the fucking Uber driver's fucking passenger seat. I had a stroke. These are getting to me now. I mean, shit, you don't even have to leave home to get pussy anymore. It may also be that theaters continue to support non-film events. I used to go watch UFC in bars. I'd rather watch it in a theater. I'd rather watch UFC in a theater where everybody sits the fuck down and the drunk people shut the fuck up. I reckon my wife would prefer that as well. Something y'all don't know about Chunky Box is she is a warrior. So let that be known. She loves watching combat sports. And I call her Chunky Box anyway. I ain't afraid. Come knock another tooth out. So I guess at the end of the day, what I'm saying is brainwash your kids, pay them, give them money. Don't make them do chores. Give them money to sit down and watch movies with you. Make them watch Big Trouble in Little China with you. Pay them to do it. Hide their phones when you do. Hell, I'm okay if you beat them. Do what you got to do for this future generation to make it better for them. Put a smartphone playing porn loudly in a sock and then beat them with it to create this negative association. They won't want to see a smartphone. They won't want to hear some 95-pound girl moaning as she gets absolutely broken in the anus. Tip your local jizz mopper, right? I don't know how to end this video, so I'm just going to quickly tell you guys how to make LSD at home.